Exxon.
This is fun. I've never had this. I've only been here 25 years. No, 24. Largest crowd I've ever seen. Oh, well. Couple things before I kick off the meeting. If you're here to speak, you're going to use a microphone. I'm going to ask you to talk into the microphone so that we can hear you, and the people at home, it can be picked up on the recording. Okay? If you're here to talk about the quarry, all right, under public participation, we are not going to have a discussion about that. We will have a discussion as a board with the sheriff and the fire chief, and after we've had that discussion, if there are open questions, I may allow them, all right? Just so, I don't know what the audience makeup is. We'll find out as the evening goes, okay?
No public participation on the quarry concert.
No public participation on the quarry.
Okay.
It's an agenda item. Agenda items do not have public participation, okay? So, with that, I'd like to call to order the Board of Supervisors meeting for Monday, June 15th. Let's call it 7:02, and if you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call to establish a quorum.
Supervisor Hain.
Here.
Supervisor Jeannie Vogel.
Here.
Chairman Dan Wolfle.
Here.
Supervisor Linda Waite.
Here.
And Supervisor Stacy Danielle.
Here.
Okay. Well, if I do meet and greet tonight, we'll be here an extra 15 minutes, so I'm going to pass. If you speak, I would like you to introduce yourself, if you would, please. And you're going to have to, again, as a repeat, pick up a microphone, speak into it. We'll start with public participation, and that will be for non-agenda items. So if you're here to speak on something that's not on our agenda, now is the time for you to do that. Gwen?
My name is Gwen, can you hear? My name
Yep.
is Gwen Grayboys. I live at 5343 South Lake Road, and I'm here this evening to speak on a couple of updates regarding artificially enhanced wake boating on Clark Lake. Good evening, Chairman Wolfle, Supervisor Hain, Supervisor Vogel, Supervisor Waite, and Supervisor Danielle. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. We are now entering our third summer, still without a satisfactory solution to wake boating. This evening, I have 4 points for updates. The first is the huge sign over there is our most recent bathymetric measurement of Clark Lake. The last one we had was in
Should have set it on the
1965.
You can pick that up, Gwen, and put it up in front, if that helps.
Okay.
And you can pop the mic out of the stand, if that helps.
Well,
Okay, struggle about, someone's
There
gonna
we
have to
go.
pick one up.
I can't get it out.
Just clip.
Sorry.
That's all right, you
There
can
we
put
go.
it in front of
Okay.
the screen for the
I
moment.
apologize. I got all my notes over here. If I
Good job,
have
Wayne.
10 seconds back. Okay, we had two students last summer of 2025 come and do a bathymetric measurement. That means it's a bottom reading. This is the final result we got in February of this year. It is a subtracted image in that all the vegetation has been removed, so this is surface water to the bottom. There's a couple of points I want to make. The first one is just for orientation. This is South Lake Road. This is West Shore Drive. This is the west boat ramp. This is the east boat ramp. We have the vast majority of the lake is well under 15 feet. There is no point that's 30 feet deep. And these two red areas are the only ones that we have that are 25 to nearly 29 feet deep. The rest of all the greens are less than 10. And just for a comment on the relevance of this, several of us were out last weekend. We saw a wake boat launched from the west boat ramp, go back and forth transversely across the lake clearly into shallow areas and then took their boat out and left. So we are seeing wake boat traffic from visitors. The second point I wanted to just talk about a little bit is the new LLC that was formed called Protect Clark Lake LLC. We are an independently funded grassroots organization that was created to engage the broader community through education and to increase awareness of environmental hazards and safety risks from wake boating on Clark Lake. The science is clear. Our audience in this endeavor are all stakeholders on Clark Lake, notably the towns of Sevastopol, Jacksonport, the Ridges, who have the property along Logan Creek, Whitefish Dunes State Park has 400 feet of shoreline on the South Lake Road. Public uses the lake for fishing, recreational motorboating, silent sports activities, or come simply because they value it for its beauty and serenity. There is also Clark Lake Advancement Association with members that have riparian or shoreline as well as adjacent property. Families use the public beach, which is down here, just at the edge and the end of that road. And just for an example of who uses the lake, the other weekend we had a dozen bass fishing boats that came from the Luxembourg Casco High School Fishing Club that were here for a bass fishing event for all morning long. In our effort to reach out to the people, we have placed about 100 yard signs. I suspect you've seen them. They're not only on Clark Lake, but they're around Clark Lake, but they're also on Bayshore Drive, on WD, Highway 57, Glidden Drive, and into Bailey's Harbor. I think this is important because it shows that the community as a whole really cares about this lake. We created a website with approximately 1,500 visits since it was launched in May. And I promise you, that was not my 3 grandkids for who I paid a nickel apiece to go on and off the website. We have a newsletter, advertisements, and then we had a short TV spot on WBAY. The third update I wanted to talk about is where we stand with state and municipal legislation regarding wake boating. There are 88 municipalities now across Wisconsin that have passed ordinances to protect over 420 lakes. 31 of these municipalities have passed ordinances, with several more still in process, in spite of ongoing lawsuits. We anticipate that 2 of the lawsuits that are currently pending will have some decision by this fall. To date, no suit has been found in favor of the plaintiffs. In the 2026 state biennial ended this year, and as it did in 2024, there was no legislation passed for wake boating. The final point I'd like to address tonight is basically what I'm calling the ask. Chairman Woelfel, we request that the previously submitted ordinance for which certain artificial wake enhancement equipment and operations are prohibited on Clark Lake now be placed on an upcoming agenda. This ordinance, with its condition report, can be approved initially only for its submission to the DNR for their advisory review. As you know, this procedure then requires a waiting period of at least 60 days from the date of submission before it can be brought back for a vote by the board. In closing, Clark Lake cannot protect itself. Its inhabitants, from the minnow to the bald eagle, cannot advocate for themselves. Every day that passes without an ordinance prohibiting the operation of artificially enhanced wake boating on Clark Lake is a de facto vote for wake boating, and another day the lake, its inhabitants, and all its stakeholders are exposed to known, well-documented safety risks and environmental hazards. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for allowing me a few extra seconds, I hope.
Okay, no problem. I'll just address that very quickly. As you are aware, we've been aware for a long time. I recently listened to, or I shouldn't say listened, recently read about the town of Merton. I used to live in that area decades ago. so I'm familiar with those lakes. I'm fairly familiar with what's been happening in the state and around the state with other towns. I would tell you two things, and subject to the board changing its mind. One is, this always comes back to Jacksonport having to agree. Last conversation I had with Tom Wilson, I did not hear any words from him that said, I'm gung-ho on this. Now, I haven't talked to him in the last couple months regarding that topic, but his position last time we talked was definitely not of, I'm all for this, or I want to initiate it. It was more like, let Sevastopol initiate it, and we'll maybe discuss it. The other primary reason that we haven't moved ahead on this, after having gone through a couple of iterations or hearings, is our attorney advised us not to. And simply, that was the underlying primary reason, because as she put it, and as you did tonight, there's some lawsuits working their way through the courts, and her advice to us, and also from Wisconsin Towns Association's attorneys, was to hold off until a court case established a parameter and then act. And so basically, that's where I have been with this topic. Soon as somebody tells me legally where I can go, or where our attorney feels that we're not going to have a problem, even though I understand where this is, we're in a holding pattern. So I have no issue in discussing it again with our town attorney and seeing if there's a different opinion, and if there is, I'd be happy to bring it back. I don't anticipate that happening. I'm just forewarning you from where she was before. So that's really all I have to say on the topic, and we'll see where it goes in the near future, whether through our attorney and back, or, excuse me, or it is settled by the courts and we can move ahead. So, okay? Someone else wishing to speak regarding this topic or something else not on our agenda? Yes, please pick up the microphone. You can take it out of the holder. It's easy to lift out. There you go.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you. I'm John McCormick. I live at 5241 South Lake, literally right next to the beach. We bought our place 2 years ago. I own a Mastercraft. It's in Sturgeon Bay. It's a wake boat. When I bought the place, I thought this is gonna be fantastic. I'll be able to have my Mastercraft on a nice inland lake, and it's perfect, because if you ever tried to be on a Mastercraft on Lake Michigan or Green Bay, it's rough, it's not a good experience. I was all happy with that. Before I even tried to think about putting my Mastercraft on Clark Lake, I took my pontoon boat out for a cruise around the lake. This picture doesn't do it justice. All you have to do is drive your pontoon boat or walk 100 feet out in the water, and you will be in water at most up to your waist, at most. That is the entire way down South Lake Road. And I'm kind of in an awe that Jacksonport has banned this on Kangaroo Lake, and we're seemingly not able to come to grips with it, because there may be like one small, very small section of that lake that is suitable for wake boating. That's it. And for those who haven't been on a wake boat, go for a ride on a wake boat and see how much wake it really throws up. It doesn't just like, it's not like, you know, the normal boat where you hit it and you get a wake. You get a wake and a wave, and it's by design, it is pushing off the bottom to create a wave on the lake. And I'm at an awe of how someone could think on a lake that size, that shallow, that this is a really good idea for protecting our wildlife. I'm just kind of in awe of that. So I thank you for your time. I hope you'll reconsider.
All right, thank you. By the way, I do not want this to be a hearing on wake boating, all right? That's not the intent, so,
It's not a hearing.
okay. I know, but it could turn.
Mark Weisey, I'm for 5666 Trails and Court, but I'm representing Ralph L. Dunn, 5511 North Cave Point Drive. Ralph wanted to have this letter submitted, and I told him I would read it for him. According to Ralph, My family purchased property on Clark Lake in 1959. I was 9 years old, and I am now 76. Parenthetically, you have to imagine that I'm like 76 years old. I support a ban on artificially enhanced wake boat surfing on Clark Lake. This is my personal experience with wake surfing in July of 2024. While fishing on the north end of the Clark Lake with a relative, we were anchored in about the center of the north end. The boat we were in was 14-foot fiberglass semi-tri-hull configuration. The wake surf boat passed behind us going north at a reasonable distance. The boat did a gradual turn to head south and came closer to our position than before. The wake from the boat when heading north was diminished but raised the stern of our boat, while the wave approaching our bow was larger. We realized what was about to occur, but too late to raise the anchor to add more buoyancy. The wave from the boat, now heading south, struck our bow and partially swamped us. Suffice it to say, my fishing partner in the bow got a lot wetter than he wanted to. We bailed the boat and had to call it a day. Bottom line, I am not in favor of wake surf boating on Clark Lake and support efforts to enact an ordinance to ban it. Thanks for listening to my concern. Regards, Ralph L. Dunn.
Okay, one more person on Clark Lake that wants to talk. Please find a microphone near you, please.
Hi, my name is Luke Traver. Thank you for listening to me. I live at 5528 Butts Road. Also about the wake boats, I have a 4-year-old son. I want to be here the rest of my life. And the fact that we know the wake boats do disrupt the water, it's not good. We have egrets, bald eagles, green herons, otters, minks, all the wildlife you can think of. Nobody wants to come to a dead lake. If the lake gets killed off by wake boats, it's going to lower property value. Nobody wants to be around for this. So heartfully, I just want to say this needs to be looked at. I understand you're talking to different lawyers and stuff and waiting for the courts to happen, but I don't know. I feel like you need to make a step forward. So thank you for listening to me. Sorry it's short. Thanks.
No problem. Two other added comments. Kangaroo Lake, Jacksonport was like 10% of that lake, and I think the average depth is 7 feet. So it was a no-brainer from Tom's perspective on why they agreed to support that action, which was generated out of Bailey's Harbor. And the other point I'd like to make is I don't think there's anybody on this board that is supportive of wake boating on Clark Lake. So it's, you know, what you're saying hasn't fallen on deaf ears, but we also have to be responsible to the community on what's the best course of action. And even if we took action today, all right, as you indicated, by the time it gets through the DNR and Jacksonport and everybody else, ideally, the world is perfect, we'll have a court ruling in the fall, and we'll be able to move ahead on something without having to reverse, or turn around and take a different tact. So that's it, okay? Is there someone else that wishes to speak on something not related to Clark Lake?
But I'd just like to comment that our average depth is 7 feet as well.
Okay,
Could I ask a question?
let me just, there's somebody back there.
Yeah, so just real quickly,
Microphone, please.
Microphone.
We've
I'll
got-
be really fast. Gwen covered most of what I was going to say. Chuck Steinmetz, 5337 South Lake. The average kangaroo depth is 6 feet. The average Clark Lake depth is 7. There's not even really a statistical difference between the two as far as the depth is concerned. So if that's a primary concern,
No.
then absolutely that we should be talking about that, because that really isn't an issue.
No, it's not the primary concern, but you'd probably be hard-pressed to find a 20-foot spot in Kangaroo Lake anywhere.
That's true.
So, you know, that's
true.
It's almost like a frying pan. So, anyway.
Right, okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Did you want to speak on something other than Clark Lake?
No, I want to speak on.
No, Miss,
Oh, we're done.
we've heard enough on Clark Lake. Thank you very much.
All I want to say is, you can't put a temporary pause on people going there and doing this. It's obvious the community that lives here year-round.
Doesn't work that way, Miss. The courts do not allow you, the laws
Coming
don't.
tonight and letting me know all about this, I really appreciate it.
All right. So, anybody else wishing to speak on a non-Clark Lake related issue? Jim, you had said you had earlier, but you're good to go? Okay. All right. Then we're going to continue on with our agenda. The agenda properly noticed?
The agenda was properly noticed.
All right. Motion to adopt.
So moved, Linda.
Motion by Linda,
Second.
second by Jeannie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion approved. Okay, first person on our agenda is Jay Walter, who would like to talk to us about the safety on Bay Shore.
Mr. Chairman, we need to approve the minutes.
Approve the minutes.
Oh,
previous
thank you.
meeting.
I skipped on the wrong agenda. Thank you. Let's approve the minutes first.
I just want to do one little update on line 23. The minutes of previous, or excuse me, the agenda proper notice adopt. It says verification of property notice, not
Yes.
properly.
I had changed that.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. That's it. I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Mark, second.
Second.
Second by Jeannie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Jay, sorry for that brief delay.
Got you excited for there for a second.
You have a microphone,
No problem. Yep.
and you know how to use it, so we're in
I
great
do.
shape. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jay Walters. I live at 6967 Bay Shore Drive in Egg Harbor. I'm here speaking on behalf of the group called Neighbors for a Safe Bay Shore Drive. Thank you for your time and your service to the town of Sevastopol. We are a grassroots group of residents, property owners, and community members who share a simple goal. We want to make Bay Shore Drive and the greater Door County roads safe for everyone who uses them. That includes the people who live there, those who walk, bike, run, etc., and many visitors who come to enjoy this part of our community. We have representation on our subcommittees from Destination Door County Public Health, Door County Highway Department, Door County Sheriff's Department, Wiesinger Consulting, and Bay Shore Property Owners Association. We are here because we care deeply about where we live, and we want to collaborate with you, the board, and others to address a growing safety concern. You have additional information, I think it's prior to this particular slide, about our organization. I just want to make a couple comments. We're about 60 members. We were formed in October of 2025, and we're 60 members, and we're growing. Our focus is on safety and compliance. Our approach is proactive and preventative, grassroots, community-driven, and informed by data. Safety, safety, safety is the top priority. And we have one simple goal, is to prevent a severe injury or loss of life before it happens. And if we don't do anything, it will happen sooner or later here. So we have also taken steps to better understand the issue. One of those steps is the speed data that you have in your packet. There's some information up on the board here. We're basically collecting speed data from 3 speed radar signs. 2 of those are owned by Bay Shore Property Owners Association, and 1 of those is owned by one of our members. We also have a portable speed detector that we can move around up and down the 13-mile stretch of Bay Shore Drive, and we have 2 handheld pocket radars. So we're collecting this data, and it shows that in this particular example, the one that's on the board and the one that I've shared with the board here, it's showing that approximately 74%, or 452 vehicles every single day are traveling above the posted 35-mile-per-hour speed limit, with the high speed recorded at 63 miles per hour in a 35 zone. Again, 74% of drivers are traveling over 35. What we're doing with our data, we're sharing this speed data basically with the Door County Sheriff's Department. We're working with them. We have been working with them for several months, and we're giving them this information that you see on the board. We're giving them this so that they can basically be very efficient in how they send officers down to Bay Shore Drive. It gives them a heat map, hourly heat map. It tells them exactly, basically, the big thing it's telling them what days of the week are the most speeders. It's telling them the time of the day, so send your troopers down at this particular time. And it's telling them are the cars that are speeding going north or south. So it gives the sheriff's department everything they need to send troopers down, patrol officers down to Bayshore Drive and patrol that. So again, there's a lot of information I shared with the board. You're not seeing it up on the board, but a lot of information. And we're using this, and we'll continue to use this data as we move forward. So there is these numbers that I'm sharing with you, those heat maps and other things. It's very concerning. It reflects not just occasional speeding, but a pattern, a very strong pattern of behavior that increases risk for everyone on that road. Bayshore Drive is not just a through road. It's a place where people live, walk, bike, and gather. During peak season, traffic increases to over 1,000 vehicles per day on that road. And the margin of error becomes smaller. When speeds are consistently above the posted limits, the likelihood and severity of accidents rises. Many residents have shared that they feel unsafe walking, biking, running along their own road. This is not a situation any of us should accept as normal. We believe this is a solvable problem, and we, our group, Neighbors for a Safe Bayshore Drive, have accomplished a tremendous amount over the last 7 months we've been together to basically improve safety. There's a list, you can page down a little bit please, but there's a list of the accomplishments that we've had. There's 12 of them, basically big ones. I just want to point out a couple of them, if you could keep going please. So there's Door County Highway Department recently added additional 45-mile-per-hour speed signs, improved advisory signage around curbs near Frank Murphy Park, and added orange flags to several posted speed limit signs. We have also, Door County Highways also started to narrow the vehicle lanes on Bayshore Drive from 11 feet to 10 feet and increase the pedestrian lane size. That's huge, very big. You probably see it down on the south part of Bayshore Drive. It's headed north. We have a commitment from the Door County Sheriff's Department to patrol Bayshore Drive at a much higher level this summer, along with increased use of their radar speed limit trailer during the summer. And you probably see that as you're driving down Bayshore Drive. We have started a neighborhood watch program. So we're working in conjunction with Door County Sheriff's Department. They've shared a non-emergency number. We're reporting anything that looks really, really out of line on that road. Neighbors have installed close to 50 yellow "Please Slow Down" road signage, much like the lady that was speaking before me. I think it shows a community that is concerned about something that's very unsafe right now. We also, the Door County Public Health Department and the Door County Sheriff's Department are co-sponsoring a summer road safety campaign on social media. So if you're on social media, Instagram and Facebook, you'll see their theme is slow the pace, enjoy the place. You'll see that all over the internet. We held our first media event on May 19th. We had coverage from 3 Green Bay TV stations, Peninsula Pulse newspaper, Door County Advocate newspaper, and Green Bay Press Gazette. So we had really good coverage over that period of time. So what am I asking tonight from the board? Really 4 things that I'm asking. We're basically looking for your help. It may not be financial, or it may be financial, but most importantly, we'd like your show of support for our efforts to keep Door County roads safe and welcoming. I know Bayshore Drive is a county road, but parts of it run through Sebastopol, as do other Door County roads that are just as concerning as Bayshore Drive. Secondly, we ask you to support traffic calming measures. This could include enhanced signage, increased speed awareness efforts, or roadway design elements that encourage safer driving behavior. Third, we ask you to support and be an advocate for more police enforcement of the posted speed limit. And finally, we ask that our group be included as part of this process. We are organized. We're very engaged. We've got a lot of people really, really engaged, and we're ready to help in any way to support a safer outcome. So we are not here simply to raise concerns. We are here because we believe this board, you guys, can take and support a meaningful steps that will improve safety and quality of life for residents and visitors alike. Bayshore Drive is one of the most valued parts of Door County. Ensuring that it is safe and accessible for everyone is a shared responsibility. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to working together on a solution. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate the time and giving me the time to talk tonight.
No problem, thank you. As you know, I was at the kickoff meeting that was held at the Quarry. I was particularly impressed by the fact that your goal was not to lower the speed limit, which is usually what causes everybody's overreaction. So I think that's probably the right course of action, and you certainly have some worthwhile ideas to consider. So as you move along, you have our support, and it might be more than that. So thanks again for this evening, and keep us abreast of what's going on. Okay? On our agenda next, I'd like to make a change, if the board is agreeable, and move the Rock on the Rock discussion forward and leave the rest of our town business move to later on. Does anyone object to that?
No.
Okay, so then let's move that. That'll make the sheriff and the fire chief maybe a little more happy. I don't know, we'll see. Any rate, we've asked them here tonight really to just address many of the concerns that we have heard as individuals, either through the clerk or each one of the supervisors or myself, regarding a variety of things, but the majority of them revolve around safety. Anything from how are we going to handle traffic, what should happen if there's an emergency in an area and the roadway is blocked, make sure there's emergency access to the event, how are we going to do that, who's involved in the planning in terms of what effort might there be from the sheriff's perspective in terms of staffing. Also from the fire department, obviously, with you having the paramedics, et cetera, where that sits, as well as access from emergency vehicles. Just a myriad of issues are cropping up that we don't have crisp answers for. So, and perhaps the board has some others as we roll along, but perhaps it's Carl, right? Carl Water Street is representing the sheriff. You could take us through the process that you've been involved in so far, and obviously a large portion of the audience is interested in that topic since they reside in the neighborhood. So,
well, I'm going to be honest. I was excited to come to this meeting tonight to learn more about it myself because we have not been involved in it as far as I double checked today to make sure we didn't have any extra requests or anything like that, and we did not receive any. If they were sent to us, they did not go to the proper channel. So we don't have anything as far as what is going on with the program itself. We're kind of learning about it as we go. So I was hoping to make some connections here to move forward on that. So, but we have a lot of festivals in Door County every weekend. We handle them accordingly. It's not something we're not used to as a sheriff's office and as a patrol unit, so it will deal with it as it comes. I can trust that there'll be a lot of issues listening to the safety on Bayshore Drive. There's going to be a lot of issues with traffic on Bayshore Drive, and hopefully, you know, if there's alcohol being served or anything like that, there are precautions being made to assist because it does get real tight on Bayshore Drive, especially at night. So I don't have much for you to update you on anything on our end.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Mike Parent is back here somewhere.
Yes, he's here. He's back there.
Who is the event organizer. The area that concerns most people is the size of the event. We don't have a concrete number, but they're looking for up to 250 volunteers. We haven't heard anything regarding any EMR engagement since that is representing our town. 400 roughly right is potential attendance or greater. It's been well promoted on a variety of venues. And at least in the advertisements so far, there will be beer and wine available at the event, although the organizer does not yet have a liquor license for that event. So there's a lot of questions when you put that kind of density in that area, not to mention the obvious, which is unless cliff diving is one of the events that's planned, we would hope there's going to be a lot of safety personnel to prevent people from accessing the edge of that area. So it was my understanding that you guys had been engaged, so my apologies. I don't know. Mike, what have you had in the way of conversations with them?
Microphone. Microphone.
Why don't you, there's a mic back there on that second table you can grab. Thank you.
I did, this is Mike Parent, I live 7713 Egg Harbor, Highway 42 in Egg Harbor. I did talk to the Sheriff's Department. I don't have the gentleman's name I talked to, and there's another gentleman he wanted me to talk to, which I have not done yet. But I have, I guess to kind of back up here a little bit, I've talked to the Wisconsin DNR. They're okay with it. I've talked to the Door County Planning Department. They're okay with it. You know, I've been in communication with the town of Sebastopol. I've talked to Door County Highway Department. We are going to have on-site security. We're going to have on-site safety personnel. We're going to have traffic control people. Let's see what else at the time. Let me get my glasses. Excuse me. At the present time, we plan on having all on-site parking, so we don't plan on having any parking or any shuttle at this time. There's enough parking area up on top of on the quarry to have on-site parking. The music's going to stop at 11:30, and this is set up as a nonprofit. The Sunshine Resources is being the main exclusive benefactor of the event. That's basically what I have to offer right now.
Have you had a conversation with Kalen at all, fire department?
I did talk to the Sturgeon Bay Fire Department also, and mainly about,
We did, he had requested some information on tents, so we did forward that information to him, but as far as planning, I'm kind of in the same boat as Carl. We plan events all the time, so I mean, events are not new to us either. You know, being in the town and not involved in the town's planning events, you know, it's a little different. If you're in the city planning an event, we have, you know, guidelines that we do. We meet with, you know, emergency services, EMS, fire, law enforcement, and typically our emergency management set up an action plan going into it, especially when we think there's a large event. You know, we're concerned about the safety of everybody, as well as, I'm sure you guys are too, but, you know, summer storms, evacuation, what does that look like? How are they alerting the attendees, things like that. So access is our big thing, beyond just the festival safety, you know, the kind of overall bigger picture of, you know, what if something happens? How does emergency personnel get in there when everybody is trying to leave the grounds as well, so.
Yeah, I mean, that particular area presents some, I think, fairly unique challenges in that where it's located, limited access as well as limited access to the top. And I understand you're parking cars on the top as well as perhaps overflow at Penny Park?
possibly, not at this time, we're hoping not to, but that would be an alternative spot.
And have you been in discussions with county parks at all?
Have not yet, no.
Okay. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
There's a call to them right now, but he has
Okay.
not responded.
Okay. So what it sounds like here is that there should be a meeting of the minds where the three groups get together and figure out where this is really tracking, so somebody's not dealing with rumor and there is a plan, because I think it, from my way of thinking, it's a potential high risk out there. I know that fire department and the sheriff has dealt with large groups, but I think the geographic location presents a couple more unique nuances, I guess I would say, so.
I can tell you, it's not uncommon for this far out to be, for us not to be fully
Engaged.
aware of what's going on. The promoter themselves, I promoted a festival for 8 years, so I know exactly what it is. You don't have an idea as a promoter to really provide the details that we need from a public safety standpoint until we get closer to the date. So,
We're looking at, what, August 1st, right?
yeah,
45
that's
days.
plenty of time for us to find, to get staffing if we need extra staffing. Usually, we're around that 30 to 60-day mark, but so we got time. I wouldn't stress out about it at this point. We do have time to organize something and make sure this gets kicked off safely. You know, my biggest concern, again, is going back to what we just heard from the safety on Bayshore Drive and the traffic, the increased amount of traffic depending on the attendance, but it's also something we can work through.
Okay. Caitlin, I think you're in that same time frame. Okay. And so what's the best method from your perspective that all of this comes together? I don't think you want to be, I mean, I don't know, I'm not in charge of the event, but I'm assuming you're not going to go one-on-one with Mike until you move
Yeah,
to the...
obviously, the soonest, the best, but again, not knowing, they probably don't have a concrete of everything that's gonna be happening, but at some point, getting all parties involved, because the same as what Carl was saying is we're hearing different things, but not really knowing concrete what exactly is gonna be happening. So at some point, that information getting to all the first response groups, so that we can formulate a plan, because a lot of things that we do affect what they do, affects what EMS does, affects what emergency management does, and we all have to work together and have one plan. So that's kind of the whole point of us all getting together to create that one action plan, so that when something does happen, it's seamless on where people are going and what everybody's jobs are at that point.
Okay. And Mike, when do you think, given what they're talking about from a timeline, when do you think you'll have your arms around the
Soon.
information?
By the 4th of July, I'd like to have everything, by 4th of July, like everything in place.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right. So,
I do have some questions.
go ahead.
I'm Jim Mitchie, 4159 Bay Shore Drive in Sturgeon Bay, Sevastopol. Some of you may remember 7 years ago, can you believe it, 7 years ago, there was the challenge to the RV park on this same property, in the same location. During that time, I was the captain of that challenge effort, and we had a lot of meetings bigger than this one. I'm sure you remember them very well. And I learned more about the quarry than I ever wanted to know, particularly the handling of human occupation, be it in RVs or just in general. And there were many issues that were brought up during the review of the RV village up there. And I'd just like to remind people and those that were not through that gauntlet 7 years ago about some of these issues. The first is sanitation. Sanitation up there has always been, and during the review process, a difficult issue. At this point, I don't know what sanitation things had been put in place for the parcels that have been sold or for offering. And it's even more undefined for the other, I guess, 40-plus acres upon which this concert is going to be taking place. Don't know how it's going to be handled. I presume with porta potties. How many porta potties are you getting? I would think by now you'd need to be able to order those. If you have 1,000 people, you need 35 porta potties. So here you are in Door County trying to collect that. I would guess that's something you've been working on. But sanitation up there has always been a problem. Access, as Dan alluded to, there is a single road that comes up from Bayshore Drive. It's about a quarter mile long. It's a 10% grade, drops off, there's no lighting, and that goes to a partially, I guess, partially paved area up on top of the quarry, just for the approved parcels. But the rest of that is undeveloped, and I haven't been up there recently, but there are piles of rock and things being excavated. Just seems to be premature to have a lot of people up there. And of course, we have no idea how many people, at least 250 if there's 250 volunteers. And then the performing people and the beer sellers and whatever else. All of that is going up this quarter mile long, semi-developed, unlit road. That seems to be ripe for difficulty. During the RV park review process, there was a lot of discussion and a lot of concern about emergency access when it was developed. And now it's undeveloped, and you're going to have hundreds of people up there coming in by a narrow road. I don't know how that's going to work. And I certainly encourage very serious thinking about that. Another safety issue, I'll get to the quarry walls, but large storms do occur up there, particularly in the summertime. And there's plenty of videos of waterfalls going over and a stream going through that quarry area. There needs to be some consideration of what happens if there's a big thunderstorm 45 days from now, just 45 days from now on August 1st. Another one, of course, is the quarry walls. The quarry, going up to the quarry, it's about a 45-foot wall. As far as I know, there's no protective fencing or barriers or any sort. And here you are in the dark after having a few beers, and people are wandering around up there. It's a concern. In back of the venue is a 60-foot wall that we all have seen. What you may not know is that that wall is not owned by the people putting on this event. It's owned by the houses on top of the bluff. And if I was on top of the bluff owning a house there, I would want to get indemnification and insurance that people won't be climbing up this wall in the dark. And as to projecting light and presentations on that wall, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know, but that doesn't seem right. So before this is allowed, I think in the next 2 weeks, I guess, there's a lot of things that need to be sorted out. The parking, you can say it's all going to be on the top. What happens if people park along Bayshore Drive and are wandering up this quarter mile, 10% grade to get up to the quarry in the dark? I find it amazing that 45 days before the event, there's been no movement apparently on a liquor license. I thought that would be something that would be obtained quite a bit ago. And it's also kind of perplexing to me that the Sevastopol noise ordinance that calls for quiet hours between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. does not apply here. With that, thank you for your tolerance in my long soliloquy here, but we lived through a lot of these issues, and they're all apparent, and I'm sure there's more. And I think answers are needed very quickly to maintain the safety of people on Bay Shore Drive, of other drivers on Bay Shore Drive, and the concert attendees. Not against the concert as such. It's not the recreational use that we certainly envisioned 7 or 10 years ago, but c'est la vie.
It's not motorhomes.
Hmm?
That's the only highlight. It's not motorhomes.
It's not motorhomes. It's not 250 motorhomes. That's true, and it's one day, I guess. And probably the next day picking up all the trash, and I'm kind of curious about who's going to do that too. But I think it's incumbent on the public authorities in the county and in the town to be aware of all these issues and do whatever you can to try to secure this in advance and not have the newspapers all over this in the event of an unfortunate incident. Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Well, you have a microphone. You're prepared.
What's that? I just happened to be here. I'm Dennis Wessel, 4988 Bayshore Drive, and I came with just a whole list of questions. And most of my questions have already been asked about safety and EMTs, and I've been involved with nonprofits and doing events, and it seems to me that there are so many questions, and we're like 45 days out, and I agree with you that if you're experienced doing events like this, you would have more answers at this point. So I had questions regarding, will there be full EMT services up there? It is dark, it is rough, people may trip and fall, cuts and abrasions, you can have all sorts of little accidents. You know, police being there for on the roadside, I mean, we're walkers, we're bikers, and so that whole issue needs to be worked out. You know, I had the ledge on my list of things. I didn't realize that the back part wasn't owned by the developer, but that's interesting. The hours of operation, 11:30 seems excessive, especially when you have the quiet time from 10 p.m. on. With 11:30 being and shutting down, it's going to be well after midnight before people are out of there with traffic and the one-lane road. So that just seems excessive if it can be dialed back. The use of the county park, you brought that up, Chairman, that I think, yeah, what right do they have to infringe upon the boaters and things by using the county park? I think that's up to the county to take a look at that. Garbage I had on my list. I mean, we don't, the neighborhood's pretty good at picking things up, and I would ask that part of their plan be to have it all picked up, including walking the road for at least a quarter mile in each direction and picking up garbage that people may throw out as they're walking down the road, because it's pretty clean at this point, and I would hope that they would have enough community presence to want to clean up the area when they leave and not leave it a total mess. But those were one of the major things, and one question I had was, it's supposedly a nonprofit fundraiser. Is anyone from Sunshine Resources here? You know, many of us participate in fundraising and go to events, and normally when it's a fundraiser, you know what the ticket price, how much is going to the organization, you know what's being donated, you know, so what is the role of Sunshine Resources? Their name is out there. I would have thought they would have been here if that's the case. Is there? Okay. So what is the role? What is, you know, how much is being, you know, donated? What's been promised? You know, what is the whole nonprofit part of this if it's being used as a marketing incentive to have people come? All I've seen is the logo. I have no clue what that really means. So I would just hope that we can get these questions answered in their entirety instead of rolling in bits and pieces. And I would hope that if you're someone who's put on events like this, you've got a template and you go through it. We got to get these things answered. You know what you're doing. And I don't get a sense that that's been done. So
Sure,
thank you.
sure, I can speak to that. Yes, thank you for your question. First and foremost, I just want to let everybody know that rockontherock.com, we have a website. If you have any questions, you can go ahead to rockontherock.com and ask any question that you like. We'll be more than happy to answer that.
Would you identify yourself, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeremy Pazchek. I'm with Sunshine Resources with Door County.
Thank you.
To answer your question, we really don't know what the benefit to our organization is going to be because the event hasn't happened yet. So we're looking at anywhere from $15,000 to $50,000 that's going to come to our organization. As a nonprofit organization that's been in Door County for 55 years, 70% of our operational costs come from fundraising and donations of the community. So when we have somebody who owns a personal property and says, hey, I want to have this event, and we're looking for a benefactor of this concert, of course, when we're looking at 70% of our operational costs need to be raised, when we hear that we can potentially raise $50,000 from this concert, of course, we would be not very smart to say no.
Is Sunshine Resources going to be on the hook if there's a loss?
Yep, liability.
No, that's not, there's a guarantee. So Mike has guaranteed at least $15,000 coming to our organization. So that's contractual.
So Mike's on the hook.
Mike's on the hook. Yeah. So as far as the volunteers, great question. I guess the assumption is 250 volunteers means that we're going to have a gazillion people out there. Possibly. We're going to limit how many tickets are going to be sold. We can't really tell you how many people are going to actually show up. But I can tell you 250 volunteers is really meant to kind of answer a lot of your concerns. Safety. So we plan on having somebody on the rock wall every 10 feet along that entire rock wall during the entire day to make sure that nobody's passing a gate or a fence that's going to be along that rock wall line. We have people who can be possibly EMS trained. So we don't necessarily need paramedics for a cut or an abrasion, but we can have first aid staff on hand. Sorry?
I don't think anybody here, doesn't think that your organization is a wonderful organization.
Sure.
We support
Microphone.
it, and probably many people here do. It's wonderful. It's just a matter of tying it to this event, which we don't think there's answers. 250 volunteers is not just pull them together and space them every 10 feet. There's got to be adequate training. And let's not downplay cuts and abrasions that anyone can slap a bandage on it because you don't know.
If they're first aid trained, they should be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it all has to be planned and organized.
Sure, and we're
not
still in the
thrown-
planning stages, right?
Yeah, and not thrown
So-
together in the last couple of days, and so.
Well, it's not necessarily thrown together in the last couple of days. I can tell you, we've been throwing a festival for 35, 40 years. It used to be Corn Fest. Now it's called Sunflower Fest at Martin Park. I don't start planning that until mid-July, early August, and that's on September 12th. So it doesn't take us long to plan an event if we have all our ducks in order. Now, I'll go back to EMS and fire and police. We're right there. So right now, we're basically in the later stages of designing how the layout's going to be. Partially, so we don't have parking on Bayshore Drive. So we're outlining the entire quarry base so we can figure out how many parking spots we can have up there. Until we have that plan, it doesn't make really any sense to go back to EMS and police to say, hey, this is what we got, when we don't really have a plan on what we were trying to do. So we're still kind of planning out the base of it, like where are we going to put the parking, where are we going to put the stage and all of that. Then we will go ahead and get EMS and police involved to say, here's what we're looking at. Is it doable? How do we get you access? All of these contingencies have been addressed. I do want to point out also, it was mentioned about lighting in the parking lot. We're actually going to get portable lighting so that way it's lit up. I served on the fire department. I am 100% all about the safety of these. So I can assure you that if we're assigning our name to this benefactor, we're not going to take any risk that somebody's going to get hurt or do something that they shouldn't be doing at this event. Yes, beer and wine are going to be served, but tell me one function in Door County where beer and wine aren't served. It's every single event that's happening in Door County. So
it's more of the
Microphone, please.
Mike.
Microphone, please.
It's more of making sure IDs are checked and it's a safe environment. And it just brings up a point. It just seems like it's not that we don't want you to raise money, but wouldn't there have been a better venue of choice? There are many venues throughout Door County that have the infrastructure for events like this. And you mentioned that, you've held other events. Martin Park is one. There are areas where are designated for this type of activity. This never was, unless is that new, that the Bluff is now going to be a major venue space? And if that's it, then I think there needs to be the proper infrastructure put in place there longer than 30 days in advance. So it's more of, there are other places you probably could have done more successful without having this big discussion because they're made for that. this isn't made for that from what I've heard, and we've walked up there, you know, so I hope you raise the money you raise, just don't think it's the right place for the event, that's all. I'll
Sure,
leave it at
yeah,
that.
I completely understand your concerns. A lot of those venues haven't offered us to come out and be the benefactor of a concert. We're not throwing the concert. We're just the benefactor of the concert. And part of that is building that volunteer corps to assist with hosting the concert, which I think is a small price to pay for the benefit that our organization would receive from actually hosting the concert. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to that, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions. I'm sure Mike is as well. Sure.
Microphone, please.
I've got it.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't see you back there.
That's okay, that's normal. I'd just like to say, somebody referred to the fact that the people up on the top, which I am one of, I live at 6417 Whitefish Bay Road. My name is Brenda Lang. I do own the wall, the quarry wall face, and due to the fact that the original realtor did not have this stuff laid out properly, myself, I own 2 lots up there, and my neighbor to the north who tried to be here but could not, she also owns the lot north of me. We own 60 feet approximately into the floor of the quarry. So you're saying there's going to be people stationed, but are you talking about the ledge that's out on the front end, on the water end? I understand that, but in the past, we have had people climbing that wall, and we've had to call the sheriff's department because of it.
Well, that's your property, you should protect it.
How am I supposed to protect it? It starts at the bottom.
It's your property.
You're holding an event up there. I'm saying
Okay.
if you're going to have people guarding the wall, it should be both walls. There's a bluff on both ends of that property. So I'm not trying to keep money away from Sunshine. I'm a big fan and a donor of Sunshine. So I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying it's a definite safety issue. And I just wanted to clarify, I do own the wall face and 60 feet approximately into the wall, into the floor of the quarry.
Sure.
We know exactly which one.
Yeah,
I do, I know you have it listed on your
Right,
spreadsheet.
yeah.
But the people down there aren't gonna know that.
Everybody's concerns are completely valid, and these are the things that we're working out right at the second. I mean, we can sit here and say right now, who's stopping anybody from going up there and climbing your wall? Nothing, right? I mean, anybody can go up there at any time and climb that wall. Do we understand that this is a higher risk? Absolutely. 100% absolutely. That's why when we get the sheriff's department involved, okay, what is it gonna cost to have deputies on hand? How do we get security? Again, every 10 feet along that wall, as far as we need to go. So again, 250 volunteers, not everybody's gonna be picking up garbage, not everybody's gonna be serving beer. Some people are just gonna be standing there and making sure that parking is safe, that people are getting out of the area safe, that there's traffic control along Bayshore Drive, that, you know, we don't have people climbing the walls, that we don't have, you know, fights starting. I mean, there's a gazillion things that we're already kind of checking off the boxes of making sure that we're gonna try to eliminate. But, I mean, 90% of those can happen at any event in Door County. It's not exclusive to this particular location. I think the biggest thing here is the rock wall, and that is definitely something that we're, you know, taking a very hard look at on how we protect that.
My name is Orlane Gabert. I live on 5227 Bayshore Drive. I have one question. Was there any kind of survey of the neighbors? I'm thinking about the noise and the time, the hours that the concert's going on. I'm a little older now. I might have stayed up till 1 o'clock and enjoyed it, but I don't do that anymore. And 11:30 is I don't want to be up, awake, listening to music. I'm going to hear it. You know, you've got all those sounds, is that, it's, you know, we've got houses all the way up, and all my neighborhood is my age. And many of them down south of me are my age. We don't want noise at 9 o'clock at night, and people driving and speeding, and, you know. And the other thing is, you know, I don't know, is it, what day of the week is this? Saturday is a busy time on Bay Shore. People come and drive back and forth. Is that the traffic is already heavy and people are walking their dogs, and is that it's just, you know, has anybody asked anybody in the neighborhood how they feel about having a concert there?
I haven't, but I, want me to speak in the mic, so. Well, I use the mic.
Well, I know you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't answer it. It's private property, so I don't know what the logistics are with that. I mean, if you're asking me personally, I can't answer that.
No, I'm not asking.
Yeah.
I'm just asking as a question.
Hi, my name is Eileen Schwalbach, and I live right above the quarry. And I think everybody here loves Sunshine House. We're big donors. And we think this is just terrible publicity for you. So if you will agree not to be the sponsor, we will donate $15,000 so you get your money.
Wow.
Great offer. Yes.
My name is Dan Mavis. I applaud that there's thinking now of having a plan. But when I look at it, we're having a concert in a place that there's never been a concert there, managed by people that have never had that. I'd like to take 10 seconds to read what happened at 5 years ago in a concert in Houston, Texas in 2021. The concert shocked the nation when a crowd crush incident left 10 dead and over 700 injured. During Travis Scott's performance, a surge of people pushed toward the stage, literally crushing some attendees to death, a condition called compression asphyxia, where an external force prevents the body from breathing. As of May 2024, all 10 victims' families had settled wrongful death lawsuits with Live Nation and Scott for undisclosed amounts. I sense that this is more serious than it was a day ago to get a plan, but I think this is critically serious, that it's not a casual phone call about tents or someone talked to someone at the police department. This is a safety issue which far exceeds the annoyance issue to the people. Bad things have happened, and I won't list some of the other bad things, but none of these other concerts that had really bad things happen, they thought that that would happen to them. And it could happen anywhere. So I don't think we should be complacent there. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Can I ask just one follow-up?
1 minute, please. Go ahead, Kayla.
I just, to a couple of the things that were said, I want to be clear that I guess I don't care one way or another if this happens. We, and I'm going to speak for Carl's department as well as mine, we plan events or are part of events that happen in fields, in parks, in places that were not intended to be concert venues per se. So as far as safety, we will do everything we can in helping with the planning. I'll tell you, our 4th of July celebrates in Sturgeon Bay, which is a huge event if you've ever been there at Sunset Park. We've just completed the action plan for that within the last 2 weeks. So as far as the timeline, I didn't want to make it sound like, oh my gosh, we haven't got anything, but I don't personally know a lot about it or been involved in it. So to me, it's not a make or break concern that we don't know anything about it. I've been getting a lot of questions. I know I've had some conversations with Amy about what she knows. So I just want to be clear that speaking for the fire department, I'm not saying absolutely this is the worst idea and we can't support this and make it as safe as possibly can from the fire side. But I just wanted to be aware that as Carl said, every weekend there's a festival in Door County, multiple festivals in Door County, pulling us kind of every which way, and that's the nature of our county. So we will work with them if this does go forward and make it the safest possible and give our expertise on what we need as responders that there'll be, you know, fire responders involved, law enforcement, EMS. Our emergency management director does to speak to the weather incidents. He does forecasting out. He does weather forecasting daily, gives a weather brief on a daily basis for any festival that's going on to the specific responders. So we have a very good coordinated effort in our county. My whole point was that I don't really know a lot about it, so when people are asking me questions about it, I don't know the answers. And I've worked with Jeremy, as he was a member of our department for many years, so I know safety-wise, he's gonna do everything he can to make sure that those participants are safe and understands what we need from them. It's just, we don't have any of that yet, so I just wanted to make that clear.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, the reason we did this tonight was to try and answer some, maybe not answer, but bring forth the questions that we've been hearing individually and the concerns. I mean, we're not interested in seeing cliff diving occur at the quarry. It's not on the list. But although somebody said there's a big runoff, maybe, you know, that could be potential.
I have a question.
I'd like to make a comment first, if I could. I just also, well, I appreciate both of you coming this evening, as well as the questions. I also want you to understand that this is not something that the town is permitting. The town has no involvement in permitting this any different than we would the thresherie or burning cow with a motorcycle or any of the other events that occur in our community, all right? These people have applied, or I shouldn't say applied, they've asked the questions of the people they need to ask if there's a restriction to do the event. And for example, this has gone to the county, they have no issues planning and zoning, and they've talked to enough people that no one's, but hey, stop, you can't do this here, okay? The other thing I want to just touch on is nuisance ordinance is brought up many times. Regrettably, the nuisance ordinance, from my perspective, and probably Carl could tell you too, it's an after-the-fact thing. Just because we have it doesn't mean people are going to adhere to it. It's like speeding. After the fact, you get caught. After the fact, you pay a fine. So even though we have a noise ordinance, it's not something that is going to put a showstopper on this in terms of what's going on. So I just wanted to put a couple of those things out there, because a couple of people are getting the impression like it's up to us. It is not. So, okay? Microphone.
Tom Schwalbach. I live with my wife on top of the bluff in the same place. I'm just wondering how might developers can co-opt that cliff face that does not belong to them. It's private property. We also own a strip of land at the bottom of that cliff as well as the top. We're assuming the cliff in between those two areas belongs to us. Now, if Mike would like to negotiate a selling price, I might consider, you know, working on the same square footage basis that he's selling his lots at.
Can't help you there.
I see no reason why he can use that cliff face for his own profit, which basically is what he's hoping for.
I can't help you with that. You'd have to talk with them as a property owner. If you feel there's trespassing or something along those lines, then you'd have to deal with that on a private one-off basis. Okay, I'd like to try and wrap this up. We're starting to get repetitive, so let's take 2 questions more and then we're moving on. Betty?
Microphone.
Microphone, Betty.
I'm Betty Parsons, 4147 Bay Shore Drive. I'd like to thank the previous speakers for their questions and also the clarifications that we've had from our community services. I'm surprised at this point with all the media that there hasn't been a permit issued for either the agent or for alcohol, and I wonder how long we move forward without that. And I would also like to know, when everybody works together, who ends up with this plan? Is this the county? Is this the sponsors? And where does the Sebastopol Town Board fit in terms of responsibility? Because we want to be sure that everything is mapped out. And who's going to know that everything is mapped out? And for the county services or city services that are required, this is an event that's being sponsored by a private individual? And is it the taxpayer that pays for any of the city and county services? And lastly, I've heard, Dan, what you've said about ordinances, but I'm also wondering and asking if anybody with commercially zoned property in Sevastopol has a right to put on a rock concert and light show at any time at his or her own discretion. And what's happened with the quarry could happen, for example, at Birmingham's, it could happen at Donnie's Glen Lodge Restaurant, etc. And if it can occur once, it seems that it can occur 100 times. So I'm asking, perhaps it's time for the town to develop a noise and light ordinance, as such an event has a negative impact on a primary residential area. And furthermore, doesn't the concert seem a contradiction to our STR ordinance that has quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.? Times change. Up to now, there's been no need for such ordinances. Doesn't it seem the time has arrived for the town to develop one? Thank you.
Okay. We'll take that topic up at another time. So, all right, one last person that wants to speak, otherwise we're moving back to our agenda. Hearing none, I'm sure that the sheriff and the fire chief will be back with us in terms of an update. Once you get the details, and maybe we can touch base as the group and just figure out, make sure all the bases are covered. Not that I'm overly concerned, but there is some legitimate concerns raised here tonight. And so we just want to avoid future problems, let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you want to, if we could come back on the July 20th meeting, I see that.
Yep.
We could.
That's
we could
what I
do that.
was, that was what I was going to suggest.
If I could offer just a quick answer to some of those questions. So when there's private events that occur, something similar to this, the sheriff's office has what's called reserve deputies. They're part-time deputies. You'll see them often at the 4th of July, some festivals around. So those are billed hourly to the promoter of the event that they're required. However, if there is a major incident or anything like that, yes, all that is covered through taxpayer dollars. It's similar to if we would respond to anybody's house for anything like that. So as far as overall security goes, yes, that is billed to the promoter at the benefit rate, and then that goes back into the general fund in the county. As far as the incident action plan that's developed, we could bring a copy of that, or at least discuss it, I should say, at the next meeting. But yes, emergency management, Jeb Salins puts together an incident action plan that all the stakeholders are involved in. So when you talk about triathlon, that's probably the biggest event that comes to mind outside of the 4th of July festivities. Everything that we do has an incident action plan. And to answer your question, yes, every responder along with the promoter has a copy of that and has the contact information, and we all have a plan on how to respond and mitigate issues that arise from a public safety standpoint.
Okay, great. That will be great. We will put you on our agenda for July, and thank you this evening for coming. We are going to go back to our business agenda for those of you who have no desire to listen to us anymore.
And the crowd
We bid you fond adieu.
Mass exodus.
As expected.
Thank you.
How do I get to relive the glory?
Hey, the meeting's not over, folks.
Yeah, I know.
Order?
I'm working on it.
All right. Yep. Excuse me, if you're going to have side conversations, could you please go out front? Would you guys please move out front so we can continue on? Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Back Back to the agenda. Redistribution of funds to another institution. We had this conversation last month about taking some of our funds and moving them into a FDIC account. And when we started digging into this, it got to be rather interesting. And I've basically said to Amy, please go and do some more homework with other institutions, because quite frankly, I think that Bay Lake may have done us a little bit of a disservice. And so, Amy, why don't you fill in on what I had asked and what you were able to accomplish so far?
So,
Thank you.
Nicolay had given us
I said Bay
some-
Lake, thank
yep.
you.
Nicolay had given us some Cedars deposit numbers. That's where the different FDIC comes in with different Cedars accounts. So I did end up going to Bank First, which is in our municipality. In order to get a savings account there, you would need a municipal checking account as well. And their return back, their percentage was very low. Even if we brought over 250,000, it was, I want to say 2.48%.
So not worth pursuing.
Not worth pursuing.
Okay.
I also did check at Associated Bank. Their percentage was 3%. And I also took a jaunt over to Bank of Luxembourg, which was the, you can just get a savings account there, municipal savings. Their percentage was 3.438%. So they were the closest to Nicolay that we could get. I believe the question that you asked was when did they offer it to Gibraltar, and that was in August of last year. So
Nicolay offered?
Nicolay had offered that increased or matched LGIP percentage to Gibraltar about last August. So they've been getting that increased percentage for
Almost a year.
Yeah.
And they went from less than
Oh,
one.
they went from like 1% now to 3.61, where the LGIP is 3.64, I think, right now. So we're getting a very good return on our money currently, and we've already, only 6 months into 2026, reached our budgeted allowed interest earned of 22,000. So we're doing very good in that category. We could have been doing better.
It bothered me when Amy and I discussed this, because it's kind of like, if you don't ask, you don't get. And I asked a couple years ago, and they told me no. I'm of the state of mind that we pull our accounts from Bay Lake. Excuse me, I'll never get over that merger. That we pull our accounts, consider pulling it from Nicolay, and put it with institutions that perhaps are a little bit, maybe, I don't want to say forthright, because that's probably not the right word, but should have come along with $750,000 on a demand deposit, or deposit with them, and said, gee, we're going to offer you a reasonable rate of return. I don't know how you feel about that. I personally had an experience with Marshall and Ilsley Bank in Milwaukee years ago, very similar, where they had my funds in the wrong account, and I went back to the bank manager, and I was able to recapture the funds for the prior year. I'm not saying that Nicolay is going to be of the state of mind to want to do that, but it just doesn't sit well with me that we've kind of been had for a long period of time, when they certainly knew that there was an adjoining municipality that was benefiting, and they didn't bother to, they didn't have enough interest in our business to try and offer us the same thing. So looking for your input on that, that's my thought.
I'll start.
Pardon me?
I'll comment if you want.
Sure, I said, yeah,
Okay.
please do.
All right, well, having a local bank that you can walk into and talk to somebody, and I'm hoping that Amy is able to do that, and it's not just emails back and forth, that goes a long way. I can think of myself when I sold my house, so I had, a lot of money in the bank for 30 days anyway, and they matched. I went to a different institution, and they said, we'll give you this rate. And I went back to Nicolay, and they said, sure, we'll give you that. So I think there's some negotiation there. And again, looking at the financial reports in this packet, we are getting 3.61% on one account. We're getting, and LG, the local government investment pool is paying 3.63. Yes, we're earning only 0.2% on the smaller accounts where there's only 25 in.
Right.
But, so what,
Well, we've only gotten the money as a result of this conversation, that they have bumped up the rate at Nicolay. Prior to that, we were getting 1%. So in last
Well,
August, they took Gibraltar from 1% to 3.5% or whatever the rate was at the time. So that's my bone of contention. And if we go to Bank of Luxembourg or Associated Bank, it's a local bank. I don't know. It just seems to me that they haven't really wanted our business. But
well, I looked at financials from a year ago, and we were at 2%. And the local government investment pool was at, let me just refresh my memory here. Yeah, 2%, 10%. The local government investment pool was at 4.36. We should have been on that a year ago.
we were.
Well, but nothing happened.
I'm sorry, I'm missing your
What
point.
do you mean, nothing happened?
Well,
We're talking about Nicolay funds.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So we were earning 2% on the Nicolay accounts,
Right?
and the LGIP was paying 4.36.
Correct.
Why weren't we on this a year or two ago?
You mean
I know we
looking at-
did talk about it. Even when I was clerk, we talked about where are we going to get the best interest rate, and it was always the local government investment pool.
Last time, and I can't tell you my timeline, but I had this conversation specifically with Nicolay. I want to say, guess, a couple years ago. I don't honestly know, but the answer that I got was, no, we're not going to do that, and we don't. So I didn't revisit it again until lately, obviously, with Amy, and that's what brings us to tonight. So.
Did
what are some
did
of your-
Gibraltar, sorry, excuse me, did Gibraltar go looking for this rate, or did they offer it to Gibraltar? Do
I
we know,
can't
you know what I
answer.
mean, like,
We don't know the
did it just fall in their lap, or did they
No, I think that they
negotiate?
pressed.
Did
I think they
Pressed.
pressed for it. They were going to also pull their funds, from what I have heard.
We could approach them and press them as well.
Pardon me?
We could approach them and press them as well,
Oh, we still may.
and then have a backup plan
I mean, it's,
for somebody else.
I just don't see a bank saying out of the blue, hey, someone else is getting better than you guys, and we're gonna help you out. You know what I mean, like,
Well,
is that?
Well, how do you feel about it as an individual
Well,
if you
I-
found that your brother was
Right.
in the same
I don't think
situation?
that's right.
If your brother was getting it and,
Well,
but
it-
you're not because you didn't go to ask.
But my question is this like our personal investors, Nicolay considered like our stockbroker, our investor, like, you know what I mean? Like, so if you have your own personal investor, your stockbroker, your guy you're buying stock through, he's got your best interest because he makes money off you at the end of the year, correct? Nicolay is not like that. They're not like our stockbroker. They're not like our personal financial advisor helping us to earn more money so they get more money at the end of the day.
Well, they're a
Does that make
Well,
sense? You know what I mean?
They do
Like-
get something out of it.
But,
Right.
they're matching the rate now, so what is the problem? They're matching the local government investment pool rate right now.
No, the issue from my personal perspective is that they've taken advantage of us, and as a result of that, they could either make amends, in my eyes, for oversimplification, or we would consider changing to somebody else that wants the money, wants the deposit. Now, that's, to me, all it really comes down to. I mean, yeah, we can go have a conversation with them and say, oh, by the way, we feel that, you know, you've misrepresented the business relationship here, and that there should have been an adjustment. You want to make an adjustment, fine, things stay static. If you don't, then we might want to consider looking to another institution that perhaps wants to have the money and has a little bit more interactive arrangement. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well,
That's-
so
but go ahead.
Amy apparently surveyed Bank First, 2.84. and you have
Right.
to have it-
I wouldn't move it.
Associated, 3.3%. Bank of Luxembourg, 3.48. We're already getting 3.61 with Nicolay.
Well, I'm
Why are
not
we
disagreeing
shopping
with what
them?
we're getting.
Oh, you're asking them to go back and
Absolutely.
refund us all the interest that we lost when we were
Or-
only earning 2%?
Or you, I hate to say, obviously, I don't feel that they cared about any relationship with the town. So in that set of circumstances, I'm in the state of mind that says, we'll take the money someplace else. And maybe they have a stronger relationship with us. I don't know. I throw it out there. It bugs me that, you know, we were basically taken advantage of since they had another town and, you know, they didn't, I mean, by their own admission, what's the best way to say this? They should have been nervous Nellies that they had given Gibraltar a 2 or 3% increase and worried about, gee, is this other town that we do business with, are they gonna ask for that? They could have been proactive, come forward and said, here's what we'd like to do.
Yeah, that is a
And-
point.
and-
That is
and I
definitely
don't-
a point of
That's the
contention.
that's the
But
whole point.
We're like past that now.
Well, I'm not past it because from my perspective, they owe us a bunch of money that they're not gonna pay us. I understand that. So then I'd say, okay, then I take them to the woodshed and move the funds. I don't know. That's, and I tell you what, we don't have to make a decision on it tonight, but I just, and Nicolay's been my bank since, God, you know, I've been calling them Bay Lake, and I was calling them the Bank of Sturgeon Bay. So I've been doing business with them forever, so, you know, it makes me suspect. But at any rate, that's mine. You have a feeling on that? Anyone else? Jeannie?
I'll just say they didn't handle it well, which they didn't. I mean, if you're going to have accounts with municipalities, then you probably should treat them all alike.
Yeah.
And and finally, thank you, Amy, for checking on, thanks, Dan, for bringing it up, and Amy checking on it. We are now getting a decent rate.
Correct.
So at this point, I don't see the point of moving, just, you know, because the closest we can get is Bank of Luxembourg at 3.438%. So,
And that rate fluctuates daily, so
I mean,
they both may be
right.
3, 4 today
right,
and
so,
whatever.
I mean, we could take some of it and say, you know, what will you do, Bank of Luxembourg, if we give you this much or whatever, but, you know, I think you make it very clear to Nicolay that we are offended. And, you know, we have a large group of people in the town of Sebastopol, a number of whom probably have accounts at Nicolay. And it's like you kind of slapped them all in the face. So I think there's a way of making that clear to them that we hope they never treat us this shabbily again. So.
Okay. Stacy, any other comment from you?
Yeah, if it was my personal account, I would feel offended, and I would probably look elsewhere, see what the market was like Amy did, and I would think about making a trade and
Okay.
pressuring them.
All right, well, rather than belabor the point, I will make a personal point of going to visit my friends at Bay Lake, which is really Nicolay. And I will have a discussion with him, and I will report back next month on where it stands. All right. This meeting went from short to long in a heartbeat. All right, newsletter update. I don't even know. Basically, we were looking to get some articles in by the end of June, correct?
Correct.
Anybody have any flavor for their success rate on that?
I have received a couple articles, which I really haven't looked at because I was on vacation for 2 weeks. Laddie is going to do the layout for us, so. I do have a question, though. I've been in touch with Tina at Sunshine Resources, who does the printing layout,
Yeah.
printing, tabbing, user bulk mail point. She said if we wanted to save a little money, we could go from gloss paper to matte paper. So I'm thinking, do we want to try matte for one time, since this is
Yeah.
only going to be 8 pages?
Save money, why not?
Yeah, I think that's
It's gonna
shorter.
be 8 pages.
Well, if it's 12 pages, then we're definitely going matte.
How much is it?
She
saving?
didn't know for sure.
I think it'd be a good guinea
But,
pig
yeah,
if
I
you-
think-
if we do the 8 pages. I think it'd be a good guinea pig here to see what it looks
Yeah,
like.
I mean, right now, we're looking at 3,000 copies.
With the new mail distribution?
Yes.
How many do you think? we're-
2,999.
How many do you think we are giving to Jacksonport and Town of Egg
Yeah.
Harbor?
Yeah.
A
Well,
ton?
Yeah, well,
With
if
the
they're
new
on the
mails?
route, yeah, they won't differentiate once they cross the border, so.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So that's
the
that.
unfortunate part.
Let's see, Jeannie, did you contact the Bay Shore property owners and ask for a letter
Yeah.
or an
Yeah,
article?
Betty's supposed to be, yes, I talked
Okay.
to Betty, and they're
All right.
supposed to be getting an article.
All right.
I told her to send it directly to you and Amy.
Okay. So, and I did take some photos, let's see, I took some photos at the Bayside Cemetery anniversary on Saturday. Took a couple other photos
Just
too,
happened
and
to-
we usually have a photo page, so.
Did you happen to take one of somebody with a lion on top?
That's the most beautiful marble monument I've ever seen. It sparkles. Anyway, so, like I said, I have a few articles, so if we can try to make that June 30th deadline. I'm delinquent as well, because like I said, I been out of town, so we'll get it done.
Okay.
I'm not worried.
I wrote an article that I gave a copy of to Linda and asked for her input, and she hasn't jumped up and down with her input.
Well, I said throw it out there and see what kind of response we get.
The-
Did you want to briefly say what it's about?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just want you all to be in the loop, because if it goes in there, you might get a phone call or not. And the title of the article is Institute or Sevastopol? That is the question. And it goes on, and it's strictly nothing more than, what do you think? And it's based around the fact that not all people, but many people have no clue where Sevastopol is or what it is, even though we have some signs, welcome to Sevastopol. But the only visible sign of Sevastopol is when you drive into Institute and you see the Sevastopol Town Park, Sevastopol
Yep.
Town Hall, and Sevastopol School District. We used to have 2 people with the name Institute. Institute Motors is gone, so we're left with Institute Saloon, which is an institute in itself. So,
Institution.
I wrote an article for the newsletter that I'd like to use. I'm sure it'll provoke some discussion, but I just want to make sure that if we use it, I don't want you to be unaware or caught off guard on what it is.
I think it would be great. It'd be great to see people actually hopefully respond, because we don't often hear a whole lot from our community other than for things like this that came up tonight. So,
Conversation piece.
Yeah,
Okay,
do it.
it's yours.
I have it.
You have it, okay, done. My newsletter article is in.
Great.
All right,
Stacy has hers in as well, so.
all right. Oh, the
Okay.
EMRs have,
No, the
No.
business.
oh,
I
business?
reminded the EMRs twice, so I'll send another reminder this week.
Okay,
So,
all right. Let's see here. We're down to financial reports, and you have the account balances. lots of account balances. Budget versus actual and a transaction by date. And Amy has some just unbelievable news. What is it, Amy?
Yes, the town has paid for our fire dues to the city of Sturgeon Bay for fire protection. The maintenance of effort report was filled out by the town, so we should receive our full shared state revenues. And the second half of taxes are due at the end of the month next month, July 31st. So get ready.
All right, thank you. A motion to approve the financial reports.
So move to approve the financial reports for
Motion.
May 2026.
Motion by Linda, second by
I second.
Stacy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Approvals of vouchers, bills, and claims. Everybody's had a chance to sign them. And the inevitable motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers, bills, and claims from May 19th, 2026 through June 15th, 2026.
All right, motion by Mark, second
Second.
by Jeannie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Oral committee commission reports. This is a chance to make up some space here in time.
Oh, I'll be quick. I think that was meant for me.
No.
The tourism zone, we meet on Thursday, and it is the annual meeting of the zone, along with the annual meeting of Destination Door County. So that 165-page packet is on my desk for review. From our meeting last month, and also in this month's meeting, and this will be going out to all the municipalities, we are reworking some of the language in the bylaws, mainly to address term limits for executive officers, and also to address non-attendance of the commissioners, unexcused absences. So just tweaking that a bit. Let's see, there was something else I was going to mention, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, and in the packet for Thursday is the complete list of all the permitted properties in Door County, so we can pick out Sevastopol's for that. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Anyone else having a few words they'd like to say?
I mean, we had a park meeting last Thursday, Parks and Rec, and it was I thought, a very good meeting. Went over some of the reviewed items, what we're gonna do with the interior of the concession stand. So if anybody's got any suggestions out there, please bring them to us, to me. Went over some of the duties of the new employees. Andrew gave us a good rundown of his previous job titles and things he has done in the past, so we're kind of all getting on the same board.
Okay, good.
Yes, Linda?
The bath situation all cleared up?
The what?
The restroom situation?
Yes, it's all taken care of, yeah. The-
Block them
there was-
permanently.
Yeah.
What happened?
The pump in the tank that goes out to the field was shot.
Septic
So,
lift pump.
Septic lift pump, yep. So it was overflowing, backing up into the concession stand, and the bathrooms are not flushing a couple, 3 weeks ago on a Thursday night.
Oh.
So we had a little emergency out there, and they came and, thank you to the Gozers, septic maintenance, came and took care of us, put a new pump in, and I just gotta say, I think they gave us a whopper of a deal, because the bill they sent us is amazing. Very, very well.
Under
what I
$100
thought.
bucks?
Huh?
Under
No,
100?
but it was very, I was very surprised.
Okay,
You
well,
can,
that's good.
you can barely go out to eat for a family of 3 at a steak joint for what they charge us.
Was that septic maintenance?
Yeah.
I have
so-
to say, compliment them too, because in the condo situation, which we do have situations, I mean, they are Johnny on the spot. I mean, it's almost like less than 24 hours and
You
they're
had to
there.
use that, Johnny, on the spot?
It's jolly on the spot.
So.
All right.
She just changed the name.
Yeah.
It's effective.
Anyone else before Linda gets another couple seconds here?
I have an update on the ad hoc.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Go ahead.
So the ad hoc committee continues to make progress toward establishing a Sebastopol Business Association. Since our last update, committee members have been researching organizational structures, bylaws, membership opportunities, and funding models utilized by successful businesses associations throughout Door County. Our next meeting is scheduled for this Thursday, June 18th. The committee will be joined by Karen, and I hope I say her last name right, but it's Strojan? Is it Strojan? Community
Strojan.
Engagement Coordinator for the Southern Door Business Association, who will provide insight into association operations, membership development, community engagement, event support, and organizational growth. The committee will also review information provided by Southern Door Business Association President Mark Vandenhouten regarding governance, elections, meetings, committees, and membership practices, which we're very happy to have. Additional discussion will include our business outreach materials, continued development, overview of draft bylaws, and strategies for engaging local businesses throughout the town of Sebastopol. And if you have or are a business and you're listening in on the board meeting and sound interested, please feel free to contact any of the committee members or call the town office and speak with Amy, the town clerk, for additional information.
Great, thank you.
I'm sure they'd also be welcome to attend the meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, all the oral portions done. We do need to approve the Park and Rec meeting minutes from September 2025. It's a little bit dated, but it's okay, better late than never. And June 2nd for the Sebastopol EMR committee meeting minutes, which have grown exponentially.
So move to accept and place on file.
All right, motion by Linda, second by?
Second.
Second by Mark. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Hugh, you never thought you'd get to wait till 10 to 9, right?
Oh, he's still here.
Well said, Mark.
I meant.
Way to go, Mark.
Let's go, Hugh.
Yes, pleased to be with you yet this evening. With all the attendance here, it did remind me of a couple of core reviews from the Plan Commission days, so I remember those well. And I'm on this side of the table. I got pushed over from an enhanced wakeboarder discussion that was speaking over at my usual spot, so I got drifted over to this side.
Drifted, like it.
I'm going to just highlight a few things. It was a very busy May meeting for the county board. Just a couple of things from a structural perspective. The partnership with the Door County Economic Development for broadband implementation, more of that leadership is now going to transition to DC EDC. If you recall, things kind of got started with DC EDC with the Finley report back in 2021. As part of the shift towards adoption and education, it makes sense to go back to DC EDC. I think the other timing of this is related to the fact that our outstanding broadband coordinator, Jessica Hatch, her last day with the county was last Friday. She is now a broadband grant coordinator for the state of Wisconsin. So she's taking a lot of her expertise and helping the state and the communities that are impacted by ongoing grant activities with her leadership, and I know she'll do a fantastic job there, and she'll continue to keep an eye out for us. So so kudos to her, and congratulations on her new role. We provided some feasibility funds, approved some feasibility funds for the evaluation of a potential middle station. They're looking at the Zion School on V as one location, as well as I think a greenfield, at least a greenfield location as well. So the goal of this is to provide adequate and detailed evaluations before it comes to the board. So that was authorized to do that. The other item of interest is that we approved a resolution for a moratorium on data centers and battery electric storage system development. There's just a lot of questions we need to have answers before we look at how that might impact our land use, as well as any ordinances, depending on the size of these operations. The area on battery energy storage systems is also, relevant relative to large-scale renewable energy systems, if those get developed. If you think about, seeing the pictures of what it's like when a Tesla goes on fire with lithium batteries, imagine, a 40 or 100-acre field full of shipping containers sized structures full of lithium-ion batteries that are storing energy, and whether our fire departments could handle such a situation. So that's kind of the kind of items we want to make sure we address. The moratorium is for a year, but it can be renewed, and the land use department has been collaborating with other land use departments around the state that are also tackling this issue. So it's something that will provide kind of quarterly updates to the board as far as what's going on. Just a couple of projects that are going on. The addressing project, a quick update that was provided. About 47% of the address signs have been replaced year-to-date in the county. A little over 8,000 of the over 19,000. Expected completion date is fall 2027. And they expect, or they anticipate, based on the experience, that there's about a third of the posts that need to be removed. So that's kind of where they talk about the phase 2 project, right? If you have to do a new post, you need to do a digger's hotline, and there's just more logistics involved. They're starting to do the phase 2 work in Claybanks and the town of Sturgeon Bay. So some of that work is starting while they're doing the phase 1. I believe they're in the town of Bailey's Harbor and working their way north, of which, more of that area encounters more rock, so there's some more challenges as they do the replacement. So good progress be made on that one. And then last but not least, I just want to give you a quick update on our RPC committee discussion that we had on shipping containers. I think there is some revised language that's going, proposals that are going to go back to the towns for their discussion and to get their feedback before we look and decide whether or not we want to go forward with any proposed changes and any discussion of a public hearing. I think there's really two options on the table based on the discussion with the committee. One is to leave it as is. And the other is, if there is any shipping containers allowed, it would only be in commercially oriented zoning districts or agricultural zoning districts. And the other proviso is that in addition to those just commercial zoning districts, if the principal use on any one of those zoning districts has a house, shipping containers will also not be allowed. So for example, if I have 40 acres in general ag and I have a house on there as the principal structure, I cannot have a shipping container as an accessory structure. Okay, so that's kind of, and then there's some other items in there relative to, no double deckering, et cetera, those sorts of things. So that language will be coming to the town boards. Again, to give them another bite of the apple to look at that. I think there's pretty good consensus about keeping them out of residential or residential, specific areas. And we invite and are encouraging the town boards to give us feedback on that, and then we'll gather that feedback in the August timeframe is when we'll ask for it, and then make a decision as a committee relative to whether or not to move forward. So with that, if you have any questions, Mr. Chairman and supervisors, I'd be.
I will
Mine is simple. Do you have a date certain for the next RPC meeting?
It's, I believe, I want to say the second week in July. I don't have my, hang on a second. Let me take it.
That would be, they're on Thursdays, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be
Thursdays
July 9th?
At 23. July 16th is the next one. There are
good.
2 hearings scheduled, so.
Hearings, but there'll be public participation?
There's always yes, public participation.
At 3?
Yes,
Okay.
or
After the public
nominally
hearing?
after the public hearing, so it could be, 3:30-ish, or
Thank
so.
you.
Yes.
I have a question on the shipping containers. What a shocker. In the revised proposal, is there anything relative to the size or stacking or color?
Stacking is in
Because, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, there is about stacking. The only thing relative to color, I believe, was a discussion about, it can't be used as signage.
Right.
Like the den. There was also healthy discussion on things such as color. Right now, and the towns have given us feedback, and I'll go to the camping, right? Because, the typical comment on the camping ordinance is, it'd be great if you guys could just enforce what's already on the books. And I think, color or aesthetics on a shipping container, right now, the county does not dictate that for any other accessory structure that you buy from Menards or Home Depot, or you build your own stick building. So if I don't require a mandate for color on a typical accessory building that I would build or stick build or buy from Menards, it's tough to say I'm going to do that for another type of accessory structure I allow, which is a shipping container. So I think that's where there's been a discussion about not trying to get into the aesthetic side, aside from, having, signing and lettering and that sort of thing.
The only reason I raise that is some of the shipping containers, and now you see them for sale all over the place, some are covered in manufacturer or shipping
Yes.
company stuff.
Yes, yeah.
So it's one thing to have a bland-looking shipping container, it's another that says, whatever, express freight and, everything else. So that's the reason I brought it up.
No, that was discussed, and I would encourage you to offer that, I believe, when they grandfathered it, when it was grandfathered in the town of Forestville, when they went to comprehensive zoning, one of the things they said was your shipping containers got to be the same, substantially the same color as your, principal structure on them, right? So there could be something like that.
That would be a
But
great.
that would be something I would encourage you to provide that, sort of feedback
Okay.
on to the committee. We'd appreciate that.
Good. Anyone else with a question? Hugh, we're going to let you go.
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
No side conversations on the hallway for you.
Yeah. All right. License and permits, you have inspection specialists, their report for the month, as well as building permits, which are down to nothing. And then we have to do the liquor licenses tonight, don't we?
We do.
All right. So do we have any outstanding concerns, issues, or other wonderful things with them?
We do not.
Oh, wow. This new clerk has been something else.
Am I never going to hear the end of this? Two times, Mr. Chairman.
I'm terribly sorry I did not mention your name publicly, but thank you for stepping up to the plate. Okay.
Carrie Shortner's has passed, so we should let that.
Oh, there you go. I hadn't thought of that. Kerry Sharp, he's just kidding. He's the clerk.
I thought.
He was giving you a
That's,
lot of.
he was giving me an out.
Yes, he
Yes,
was.
I was trying to help you,
I
Linda.
didn't take it, sorry.
So
Oh, well.
with
I'm still a
that,
little foggy.
all we really need to do then is make a motion to approve these liquor license, alcohol beverage, cigarette, and operator license application renewals for the period July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027.
I'll make a motion to approve the alcohol beverage, cigarette, and operator license application / renewals for period 7/1/2026 to 6/30/2026.
All right. Motion by Jeannie.
Sorry, 27.
Almost like an echo.
Yes.
Motion by-
Second.
Second by Mark. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. I think you're going to be overwhelmed by the correspondence. We have one piece. You can't even turn the page. And that one piece is, the cybersecurity grant, which we're still trying to figure out. They're telling us we're missing some signature. We're trying to figure out how to fill that in, and then maybe they'll tell us the amount. But it'll help, all things being equal. All right. Open book is Wednesday, June 4th, from 10 to noon here at the wonderful town office. Board of Supervisors, Monday, July 20th. And Board of Review is Tuesday, July 21st. None or no one?
No one.
it's supposed to be
No one
noon.
to
I'm
two.
guessing probably maybe noon, but no one.
Oh, wow, it's been a long meeting.
Yeah.
I think that probably the next thing would be a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Motion by Stacy, second by Mark. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, we
Aye,
are
Captain.
adjourned.